My name was originally Jason Thomas. It is now Hossein Thomas. I was born on the 29th of the 7th, 1977. I grew up in a council estate in Battersea named Surrey Lane. My mum's Jamaican and my dad was Haitian, and I have a younger brother and younger sister. Like a lot of families who grew up on council estates, you know, my father wasn't very responsible. He ran from his responsibility and he went AWOL. He basically left my mum, you know, me and my younger brother sister to fend for ourselves. So it was really tough on my mother because she had to basically do two roles. She had to be the caring and loving mother that looked after us and so forth, but she also had to work like 2 jobs to pay the bills and so forth. I'll just get, I'll get guava, 2 guavas. I'll get 1. Perfect. Jazakallah. Alhamdulillah. So I truly believe because my father ran away at a young age, basically that allowed me to take liberties with my mother because I had no one to put me in check or to discipline me or so forth. And basically my mum, you know, was out a lot because she was always working and trying to pay the bills and so forth. But I didn't really, you know, respect her. I used to shout at her, I used to kiss my teeth at her, you know, I used to slam the door in her face when she was talking. When she was talking, I would turn the music up and so forth. And basically, I wouldn't do anything around the house, yeah? And as I got older, I just got ruder. My mum just turned around to me many occasions, you know what I'm saying? Every couple of weeks, she would turn around to me with tears in her eyes and she would say to me, Jason, if you don't start respecting me and if you don't start helping out and if you don't start having some consideration for your brothers and sisters and not coming in late and so forth, I'm gonna chuck you out. I've dealt with this for years. You're stressing me out. I'm getting sick, you know what I'm saying? With the stress, you're shouting at me. You just don't respect me and you don't care about me. So eventually my mum, she came out on the back and he said, Jason, them 2 bags outside the front door, they're your belongings. I'm kicking you out, you know what I'm saying? And if you keep on banging the door, I'm gonna call the police. So from that day on, I was homeless. And I wasn't like homeless, like going to stay at my uncle or my aunts or cousins because my whole family, the whole of my entire family, they told my mum years ago to chuck me out. You see what I'm saying? So I was basically like homeless, like living in a common, walking on the street, just sleeping anywhere on the street. This happened for up to nearly a year. And within that year, I dropped down to something like, was it between 6 and basically 8 stone. You know what I'm saying? I used to lose consciousness on the street. And by the time I'd been like homeless for a year, I was really scared for my life. But at the same time, also met someone that I used to go secondary school with. And I started hanging out with him. He used to hang out in a estate in Wandsworth called Henry Prince. And this guy, he introduced me to a whole new world because I started hanging around with him and he was around my age, and on this estate in Wandsworth that we used to hang around with, there was guys older than us. These guys, they don't do anything. They just hang out all day. They got the latest cars, you know what I'm saying, the latest bikes, you know what I'm saying, they got money. So one day I go with them, you know, they say they're gonna get a little snack before they go and show me how they make their money and get their stuff and so forth. So they go into like, you see these Tesco, they've got these little mini Tesco's and Londi and Sainsbury's and so forth. So they go into one of these places now, you know what I'm saying, they pick up a Coke and a Polo or something. They give the guy the £1 and so forth. The person, you know, takes the money off them, gives them the change, and they hit the person in the face and basically start punching him up, kicking him up. And then what they would do is they would take the 2 trays out of the till. The one on top has coins and the one underneath has the notes. And basically they would just run out. And at first, when I started hanging around with these guys, it was shocking and so forth. And I felt bad and this, that and the other. But then when you saw a young guy just like you on a motorbike, on a car, in a big convertible car and this, that and the other and so forth, you started to less and less listen to your conscience and so forth. So after a while, I became one of the main younger guys doing this stuff with them. So basically, if you do crime, as they say, you got to do the time. So at first, You go in and out of police station, they give you a little slap on the wrist called conditional discharge. Then after that, the next stage is probation. You get down, they sit down, try and give you counselling, why are you committing crimes and so forth like that. Then the next thing after that is community service. And after you do community service, I did nearly close to 1,000 hours community service. After you do community service, then it goes to prison. And once you go to prison, every time you generally get in trouble for a violent crime or so forth, then basically it's jail. You know, so is that basically I end up in jail, you know, and what it is that basically I've got, went to jail, and the reason why I was sent to jail was basically for a robbery of like one of those shop robberies I told you, where you go in there and so forth, and you know, basically, pick up some items, give them the money, and when they open a till, you just attack them, you know what I'm saying, and take the money out of the till. And basically, they sent me to prison for my first time and so forth, and then after that, they released me on bail. Why they released me on bail? I robbed basically a businessman coming back from the city from work. So I was in prison for a long time, basically. So, like, you know what I'm saying? The worst thing about prison is the boredom, because you run out of things to think about. You're in yourself 23 hours a day, you see what I'm saying? And you just, there's nothing to do, you know what I'm saying? It's just basically, you know what I'm saying? You let out yourself for, an hour to, you know, to just, sit, how can I say, sit in one room, you can watch some TV or play pool, and then the rest of it, you're locked in yourself. You see what I'm saying? So basically, I had a lot of time to think. Before I went into jail, one day I was at home just flicking through the channels, being rude to my mum obviously, and just, you know, saying not doing anything around the house, watching TV, and my cousin came round. And he looked a bit different. He had like a beard, you know, he was wearing like a long gown, and he just seemed like he had a different, he just seemed different. So I asked him, what's up? You seem different. You have a different aura about you. You seem different and so forth. And he said he's become a Muslim. So I was confused, yeah, because I was thinking is that, how is my cousin, a black Jamaican, gonna pretend to be Asian when he's got dark skin? You know, and I was wondering, how is he gonna be Asian? You know what I'm saying? He said he's converted, he's become a Muslim. I think, how can you be Asian? You've got dark skin, how are you gonna pretend to be an Asian? My cousin had to take me aside and explain to me that, you know, Islam or Muslim is not a race. You know, Islam is a way of life, and Muslim, yeah, is a title. It means one that submits to God's will, yeah? And he said that basically he's become a Muslim. So I asked him why, and he said basically, you know, he goes, basically we're raised in a Christian family, yeah? And he's looked into all the other different religions and so forth, and all the other religions apart from Islam, they worship a man, or they worship a statue, or they worship an animal, or they say God gets hungry, or God gets tired, or God gets thirsty. And only Islam, yeah, says that God is one, and all the prophets, Moses, Jesus, and Noah, and all these people were just worshippers of God, and in Arabic, they were Muslims. I wouldn't say my family was religious. As you know, my mother was a Jamaican Christian, so socially you go to church on Sunday, and you know, that's what basically you do, you go to church on Sunday. But I wasn't really religious, and I only went, you know, church because it was expected of me. But when I got to the age, you know, when I didn't have to go no more, I stopped going, you know, because it had no relevance to my life. You know, I'm growing up on a council estate and this, that and the other. My father's not around, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting into music and, you know what I'm saying, and, you know what I'm saying, becoming a teenager and stuff like that. It has no relevance to me, you know? But I always believed in God. I always believed, you know, in the day of judgment. I always believed in the prophets, you know? As for to do with Christianity and the Trinity and so forth, they don't really explain it to you in school. They don't go into it in deep because they know you're going to start asking questions. You know, if Jesus is God and he's the one true God and he's praying to somebody else, then like they don't really go into detail. So I say we just social Jamaicans basically, and part of that culture is basically to go to church. So I went there as a little kid because if I didn't, I'd be in problems with my mum. But once I got to the age when I didn't have to,
I stopped going to church because I found it boring, and I found it unrelevant to me. But I never stopped believing in God and the prophets and day of judgment, you know, and paradise and hell and so forth. I looked at Christianity, saw it as the Titanic, and I said, I am no longer a Christian, you know. And basically what happened after that, I was just living my life, like I said, you know what I'm saying, you know, smoking weed, listening to music, you know what I'm saying, following the rap stars, and you know what I'm saying, hanging out with the friends of the elders on the council estate, robbing people, you know what I'm saying, going in and out of police station, probation, community service, and then I went prison. So like everyone's in jail, so I started asking them, because I remember what my cousin said, I was in jail, so I started asking everyone in jail, what do you believe? You know what I'm saying, what does your religion teach about God? Yeah? Not about charity and this, that. Every religion says give charity, be nice, you know, help the poor and so forth. But what does your religion say about God Almighty? Because I've always believed in God Almighty, you know. So basically, they said the same thing my cousin said. Yes, we believe in one God, you know what I'm saying, who's perfect. But he became a man, but he became a statue, but he became an animal, but he rested, but he got hungry, but he got thirsty. So I rounded it down, basically down to Christianity, Islam, because and Judaism. So what I basically did is I read the Bible and I read the Quran, and then what I did is I looked at my cousin and I looked at my Christian family, and I could see from reading the Bible and the Quran that my cousins and the Muslims were following the truth. Why? As my cousin, as it says in the first of the 10 Commandments, it says that Hear, O Israel, your Lord God is one. Hear, O Israel, your Lord God is one. God is like nothing in the heavens above, and God is like nothing in the seas below, you know. It also said in the Quran, Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Say that God is one, the absolute, the eternal. He doesn't give birth, neither does he have kids, and there's nothing comparable to him. I just looked at, you know, I just read the Bible, read the Quran, and I saw that the prophets, they all came, they all told people to worship one God. They all wore modest clothing, they all, you know, were very simple people. And when I look at the Christians, I could find they weren't worshipping God. It was all about music and entertainment. The church was full of graven and pagan images and so forth. And I just came clearly to the stage that the people, even though they're not perfect, that are trying to follow the prophets, you know, Moses, Jesus, Noah, and Muhammad, peace be upon them all, were the Muslims. So I decided, you know, that I wanted to become a Muslim, and from then I started, you know, to read Quran and so forth. And the more I read Quran, the clearer I could see that this is the true way of God, a humble, you know what I'm saying, lifestyle, just worshipping God alone and not worshipping no man, not Muhammad, not Jesus, not Noah, and not having any good luck charms or any of these blasphemy or ungodly things. Also, I remember my cousin telling me about the mosque. In the mosque, they never had any pictures. They never had no pictures of Muhammad, Moses. They never had no picture of no prophets. They didn't have no expensive gold and this, that, and the other. All they had is a simple place where you prayed to God alone. You see what I'm saying? When I went into church, I see these big, you know, big crosses, you know what I'm saying, all this fancy gold altars and this, that and the other. All you see is people jump, like with guitars and pianos and saxophones, jumping up and down. There's no worship there. The Muslims used to pray 5 times a day and fall on their face and pray, like Abraham fell down on his face and prayed in the Bible, like Noah fell down on his face and prayed, like Moses, like all the things. Yeah, so as I said, because of the crime I was committing on a regular basis, I didn't end up in prison. And I think the worst thing about prison is the boredom.
because you're in your cell, you're locked in a cell 23 hours a day, a small cramped cell, only a couple meters long and about 2 meters wide, maybe less than that, and so forth. And it's just boring because you're only allowed out yourself like 1 hour a day, and that's to, you know, watch a bit of TV maybe, or play snooker. And there's nothing going on. You're not doing anything during the week. You're not going anywhere. You're not seeing anyone new. There's nothing going on. So basically, the boredom can get to people. And in fact, while I was in prison, 3 people killed themselves. So, you know, the whole thing is about prison as well. It doesn't really work, you know. The people that I knew that were my friends before Islam, they're still going in and out of prison. My best friend's brother, you know, he's doing life now. And prison doesn't change people. There's no rehabilitation. Like, someone comes from a council state, you know, society tells you, you know what I'm saying, that for you to be special, because we live in a capitalist world and a secular world, for you to be important, you gotta have the latest car, you gotta have the latest bike, you gotta have the latest suits, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? And that's the difference between Islam, you know what I'm saying, and this following the rappers and the MTV and the music videos and all this stuff, is that, you know, Allah tells you to basically don't look at the people above you, but look at the people below you. So when it comes to material things, we're told as Muslims not to look up at the people above you, but to look at the people below you. So you're grateful for the blessings that Allah has given you. If you're always looking at the people below you, you're going to be grateful for what you got. You know what I'm saying? And as Allah says in the Quran that, you know, if man was given one mountain of gold, he wouldn't be happy until he has another mountain of gold. So what is that basically, for the majority of people, prison, it doesn't work. They just end up going in and out and so forth. But what Islam does, it takes the person's want and desire to hurt people and to take their money and to take their belongings, yeah, and makes that person want to work instead. Why? Because they know even if they get away from the police, even if they get away from the government, even if they get away from everyone else, you know what I'm saying, they know that when they die, they're going to be held accountable. Since I've come out of jail, converted to Islam and started practicing, inshallah, as I slowly changed my life around by the permission of Allah, and there's still a lot of improvement left to be made. Basically been using the many bad and dark experiences I had in Jahiliyyah before Islam, yeah, to use to help the youth get out of basically the going in and out of jail, the crime, the robbing and stealing, and the you know what I'm saying, clubbing lifestyle and so forth. So basically, most of the work, most of the time I do, 80% of the time I'll use my phone, 10% of the time I'll use my PC. And today we happen to be in a friend's office, so basically I'm gonna take you through what I basically do, as it's kind of like not a hobby, but in some ways it is, basically, because I enjoy it. I enjoy speaking to you. If I enjoy, you know, I'm not a scholar or anything like that, but basically the bad experience I have made, which I know are un-Islamic, I basically share them with the youth and help, basically can speak to them. Sometimes they just want to hear someone to hear them out and hear the problems they're going through and so forth. And I just say to them why, for me, practicing Islam is better than being in the clubs, better than being in a gang, better than going in and out of jail, even though I might not necessarily have everything I had before. And most of the times, you know, like, there is progress with them, you know what I'm saying? You know, talking through people coming out of gangs, you know, starting to work, stop smoking and drinking and so forth. So, you know what I'm saying? That's the satisfaction I get. You know, when someone was smoking, they say, look, they be reading, because we as Muslims, we pray 5 times a day, you know. So therefore, I do prayer reminders. Every time a prayer comes in, I just put it's prayer time and I put a little reminder or something or so forth. So, you know, it's really satisfying when, you know, there's someone who's been out there smoking, drinking, in a gang and this, that, and the other. He said, bro, I've been reading your statuses and so forth, or your tweets, on Twitter or this, that and the other, and I stopped smoking. I've stopped hanging around with the people in the gang on the council estate, you know. I've stopped, you know, robbing and stealing. I'm filling out application forms and stuff like that. It's a priceless feeling, you know. So inshallah, I'm gonna take you through my 2 Facebook pages, my Twitter page and my website that I'm working on now, inshallah, and show you basically what my project Street All Deen, is all about. Okay, so basically you come on the page, you see these 2 logos, and then you'll come, automatically you'll see a picture of this, the guy in hoodie, you'll see the other logo again. Then the title of the video will come up, Getting on Your Deen, how to change Get on Your Deen from if you were into a certain way of life. And then I just do some basic reminders, mistakes of basically I made in the past, a few statements of the Quran, few hadith of the Prophets and so forth, and basically things I did to get out of smoking, drinking, clubbing, and basically move away from them things and give them up. And it's just a little reminder on something, nothing too deep, just something that the youth can relate to, and a simple thing. And then I have various channels of various people, scholars, you know, who have memorized all of the Quran, memorized Bukhari, Muslim, you know, the books of hadith and so forth, you know, people teaching Arabic. I have just a mixture of things. The first thing that got me noticed, I first came on Facebook and started writing prayer reminders for people. I have prayer, as you see on my website, I have a prayer reminder, I have a hadith of the, a verse of the day, I have a, you know, hadith of the day as well, you know, and I have, so at the same time that people from the street are coming and watching these little, you know, these little videos I got on there, they at the same time they can, you know, read the hadith, you know what I'm saying, they can read you know what I'm saying, a verse of the Quran, you know what I'm saying, and they can see the prayer time as well. And I want to put the prayer time actually at the top so it hits you straight away as well. So that's basically saying the street or the deen. In Arabic, deen basically means the Islamic way of life, or you got the street. So you can either go with the council estate, you know what I'm saying, robbing, stealing, raving, clubbing, sleeping around, hoodie, gun, murder, you know what I'm saying, in and out of jail. Or you can go with the, you know, the deen, worshipping God alone, you know what I'm saying, prayer, fasting, marriage, you know what I'm saying, working, you know what I'm saying, staying away from drugs and weed and this, that and the other. But alhamdulillah, it's growing steadily, inshallah. And, you know, I'm just, you know, overjoyed with how it's going at the moment. One of the priceless blessing that Islam has given me is that I know for a fact, at the end of the day, if I didn't become a Muslim, I would still be clubbing, I'll still be raving, I'll still be sleeping around. I wouldn't have kids, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe if I had kids because I was following my like MTV music lifestyle and this, that and the other, and following the rappers and stuff like that, I wouldn't have took care of them. I would have basically just abandoned them like most men do, because I would believe that my purpose in life is to just go around sleeping around and so forth. But alhamdulillah, you know, I don't feel marriage, you know what I'm saying, and kids and family as a burden. I see it as a priceless blessing, you know, and I'm much more happier, you know, than when I was free, you know, I'm saying, clubbing and raving and do whatever. So, you know, Allah has just fixed up my life in every way, in every kind of way, whether it be drugs, whether it be crime, whether it be family, whether it be relationships, in every single way, Allah has basically made it better and made it a million times better. So all I can say is alhamdulillah, you know, because at the end of the day I could have never done this on my own.